In 1983, in the Pacific Northwest, a lumberjack's peaceful life is upended when a religious cult leader takes a liking to and abducts his girlfriend. Red Miller is a recovering alcoholic who works as a lumberjack near the Shadow Mountains of the Pacific Northwest in 1983. Later, he drives home to his cabin, where he finds his girlfriend, artist and author Mandy Bloom, deep at work. Red interrupts her and marvels as she draws. When they are in bed, Mandy tells her boyfriend that she had read a book about galaxies earlier and shares that her favorite planet is Jupiter because of its daunting size and how a storm on the planet's surface that's been going on for 1,000 years could swallow Earth easily. Red mentions his favorite planet is Saturn, but then changes it to Galactus. However, Mandy argues it isn't a planet, but he counters that it counts since it devours planets. The following day, the couple visits the lake. Later that night, as Red starts a fire, he notices a clothless Mandy staring at him from the water. The next morning, Mandy is awakened by sounds from the forest. She goes to investigate, where she discovers a fawn corpse and cries at the sight. Soon, they return to their cabin, where Mandy wakes her boyfriend from his restless sleep. Red wonders aloud if they should move to a less remote area, but Mandy refuses, as the cabins become their home. Mandy then shares that when she was younger, her dad vehemently hated the starlings that swarmed their neighborhood. She recounts that her father had gathered some starling chicks into a sack and had let her friends participate in killing the animals. However, when it was her turn, she ran away because she couldn't do it. Later, Mandy reads a book about a warlock finding the serpent's eye in a volcanic fissure. She then returns to the forest, where she sees a ghostly apparition. The next day, Mandy walks past a van carrying a religious cult called the Children of the New Dawn, and she catches the eye of the cult leader, Jeremiah Sand, who is instantly smitten by the woman. The cult then stops at a motel, where one of the members, Mother Marlene, goes to check on Jeremiah. He elaborates that he feels incomplete without the woman he saw, and angrily instructs her to fetch Brother Swan, whom he orders to abduct Mandy. Jeremiah then hands him a mystical ocarina called the Horn of Abrasas, and they plot to exchange one of their members to proceed with their plan. After commending Swan for his loyalty, he asks him to bring Sister Lucy into the room, with whom he plans to make love. Marlene then goes to the gas station where Mandy works and makes small talk with her, slyly gathering information about where she lives. Marlene then eerily says she'll be seeing her later, which spooks the oblivious woman. Later, Swan and some cult members drive to the lake, where the former goes outside to play the ocarina. He returns to the van to wait and gets annoyed with Hanker's impatience. Suddenly, they hear engines revving in the distance and soon see that the cannibalistic and demonic biker gang, the Black Skulls, have arrived. Swan meets with the leader and hands him a jar filled with a potent substance to drink. However, the leader isn't satisfied and demands for blood, but Swan orders him to do their bidding first before he gives him another sacrifice. After the couple are finished with their dinner, Red goes outside to smoke when he senses something amiss. He tries to scan the surroundings but sees nothing, so he decides to go back inside the house. Later that night, the Black Skulls break into the cabin and subdue the unsuspecting couple. When they are pinned to the ground, the pair watch in horror as Swan offers up one of their low-ranking members to the biker gang. A few hours later, a gagged Mandy finds herself in the kitchen with Marlene and Lucy. Marlene instructs the helpless woman to follow what Jeremiah tells her and slaps the latter to ensure she understands that the responsibility of pleasing the leader is on her. Lucy then holds Mandy's head up while Marlene dispenses a few drops of a liquid substance on her eyes before taking out an insect to sting Mandy's neck. They then present her to Jeremiah, who admits he has been beguiled by her beauty ever since he saw her. Jeremiah believes he is the Messiah and explains that God lets him express his love through music. Jeremiah then plays one of his songs, then reveals that he is a failed musician. He elaborates that God had talked to him during his darkest days and was told to take anything that he wanted in life. Jeremiah tells Mandy that she's special and that they are meant to be together before disrobing himself so she can pleasure him. However, when the intoxicated Mandy realizes the song playing was written and composed by the leader, she mockingly laughs, which infuriates the man, who orders his members to stop looking at him. Humiliated, Jeremiah tearfully asks his reflection what to do. After a brief moment of weakness, he composes himself and vows never to doubt himself again. Afterward, Jeremiah, Swan, and Lucy go outside, where Red is chained and gagged with barbed wire. Jeremiah gets a revolver, places one bullet inside, and spins the barrel before handing it to Lucy. The cult leader makes her kneel in front of Red and orders her to shoot herself to show her devotion to him. Lucy then pulls the trigger, but is relieved to not have ended up with a loaded chamber. Swan then shows Red a knife from the pale knight they retrieved from the abyssal layer and gives it to his cult leader. Jeremiah laments for the couple's poor souls and then stabs Red in the belly. Then Jeremiah complains he wasted the chemist's best substance on Mandy, since he no longer wants her after she mocked him. However, he ominously assures that fire will cleanse them both. Klopek then arrives with Mandy, who is stuffed inside a bag. They raise the sack before Red, douse it with gasoline, and set it on fire, burning poor Mandy alive. Red watches in horror and cries out in despair, while the cult members witness the horrifying spectacle with glee. Afterward, the cult leaves and takes Red's car as well. Red then painfully frees himself from the barbed wire binds and crawls toward Mandy's remains, where he mourns for her. A wind arises and blows her ashy remains away. While he angrily watches, Red returns to his cabin, where he finds Mandy's discarded shirt on the floor and hugs it. After watching a Cheddar Goblin commercial, he collapses onto the bed and falls asleep, where he dreams of Mandy turning into a corpse. Red wakes from the nightmare and goes to the bathroom to consume his liquor. He then screams in rage and cries over his beloved's death. The following morning, Red heads over to his friend Carruthers' home to retrieve his crossbow, Reaper. His friend then provides him with handmade arrows for the weapon. Red breaks down in tears and recounts what happened when Carruthers informs him that it was the Black Skull's doing. His friend explains that the biker gang mercilessly murdered people on the interstate during the night, and that they were former drug couriers who became Satanists after their boss gave them a bad batch of drugs because he disliked them. Carruthers warns Red that his odds of survival going against the gang are poor, but the vengeful man is determined to hunt them down. So Carruthers informs him that they were last spotted by Spirit River. Before Red leaves, Carruthers discloses that the Black Skulls are also sadomasochists. Afterward, Red forges a battle axe in his basement. Later that night, Red drives to Spirit River, where he waits among the trees for them to drive by. Red then shoots one with his crossbow and tries to run the rider down, but he ends up crashing his car and is subsequently captured. While unconscious, Red dreams of Mandy. He then wakes to find himself in the Black Skull's hideout, with one hand chained to a pipe and the other nailed to the floor. Red attempts to dislodge the handcuffs when one of the members approaches and punches him. He mocks his assailant before displacing the pipe and hits the latter on the head multiple times, causing him to fall to the pit below. Red removes the nail from his hand, grabs a box cutter, and dons a vest before exiting the room. Red heads upstairs to investigate and attempts to sneak up on one of the members but gets caught. The biker gang member attacks Red, but the latter slashes his throat open with a box cutter, showering the unhinged Red with blood. Another member finds him and tries to shoot him, but Red manages to take him out. Afterward, Red snorts some substances and grabs multiple weapons, including his axe and crossbow. Red then finds a jar of their potent drug and tries it, which causes him to hallucinate a radio tower vividly. Red then makes his way outside, where he finds one of the members standing in front of a burning car. Red tries to shoot him down, but fails to kill the man, so the former goes to attack him with his axe. They fight, but Red overwhelms the biker and is about to end him when he taunts him that Mandy is still burning. Furious, Red pushes him into the flames and decapitates him via his axe on the back of the man's neck. He then finds the man's discarded cigarette on the ground and lights it using the flaming corpse. Afterward, Red drives to the radio tower that he envisioned earlier. At the base, Red finds the chemist, who surrenders to him. The chemist introduces him to his pet tiger Lizzie and opens its cage to free the animal. The man then realizes that the children of the New Dawn had made a grave mistake of crossing Red and tries to divert his attention to the millipedes on the ground. However, Red is unfazed, so the chemist discloses the cult's location. Red then drives toward it when his ATV gets stuck in the mud, prompting him to continue the journey on foot. Afterward, Red dreams of Mandy slaying a beast who holds out a shining green orb as she melts. The next day, Red wakes and hears an engine from a distance. He makes his way toward a ridge and finds the children of the New Dawn's church below. Red then spots Swan and Lucy driving away and follows them into the woods. Red grabs Swan and headbutts him, who tells the former that Mandy burned out brightly. Seething, Red stabs Swan through the mouth while a horrified Lucy watches. He then walks away, sparing her life. Red then sees Hanker cleaning his car and throws his axe at the former's head, slaying him. Afterward, Red finds a chainsaw and attempts to turn it on, but Klopek spots him and grabs his much longer chainsaw. Klopek then attacks him, just as Red finally turns his chainsaw on and injures the cult member. They fight, and Red manages to make Klopek drop his chainsaw, but the latter punches him, causing the former to let go of his weapon. Seeing that Klopek's weapon is out of reach, Red grabs a chain and swings it toward the cult member, where it entangles around his neck. Red then drags him down, and Klopek falls onto the raging chainsaw, killing him. Red then walks toward the church and climbs down to the tunnel underneath. He discovers Marlene in one of the rooms, who tells Red that she's the best partner Jeremiah has ever experienced because of her heightened sensitivity. Moments later, Red finally finds Jeremiah and throws Marlene's severed head at him. However, Jeremiah believes Red can't harm him because he's God's chosen one. The cult leader then elaborates that Red's better off now, especially after the trials he's gone through, and offers to save Red's soul, but the latter grabs his head and forcefully makes him kneel. Jeremiah then tearfully begs Red to spare his life, but his pleas don't move the latter. Furious, the cult leader asserts that he is God's prophet and orders Red to kneel before him. However, Red states that he is Jeremiah's God now, before crushing his head with his bare hands. Afterward, Red sets the bodies and the church on fire before walking away. He then gets inside his car, where he remembers meeting Mandy for the first time in a bar. As he drives away, Red envisions her in the passenger seat and smiles.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.